this is the first lecture of the advanced semester where we're going to be going over transitions. So we learned about regular grip and Tama grip. So in this lecture, we're going to be going between the two. So this is very important when we want to change the scenery of our grip. If I want to go from juggling, just pretend I landed it, to Tama grip, I can do transitions to get to that point. There's so many different transitions. I'm going to show you the basic ones and pretty much the only ones you need for Kendama, but they get pretty fancy. So for the beginners, we are going to start with standard grip, and we're basically just going to be switching in between the two. This is a lot harder than it looks. We have to use inertia in keeping these together and gravity. If you do it too late, the ball will come out. So you have to know when to let go, and you're kind of throwing it towards yourself a little bit to keep this pinned against it. Same with the Tama. There I let go a little bit too late. So practice doing this. This is the first transition you should learn. It's still used in competitions today. They still use this. It's just reliable, and it still looks fancy. It's pretty flowy. So that's the first one. The second one I want to go over is like this is harder transitions because we're going to be going from Tama grip. So if we have lighthouse, I'm going to be throwing this up, catching the Ken, and this will land on spike. This is a lot harder because we have to spike it at the end, and you can do this. I'm going to do it from base cup, but this also applies from lunar. You can do the same thing, but it's way easier from base cup, so I suggest just learning it from base cup. You have to keep the bevel on the axis like we were talking about before to make it easier to spike. Let me actually land it for once. Okay. Okay. So it looks like I need to practice these a little bit more as well, because I don't use this transition at all. There we go. Okay. So you're pulling this up until the bevel is at this point. You're letting it go. You catch the Ken, and this should just fall right on there. I still need to practice these more. This is advanced, and I would consider myself advanced, but I still need to practice these as well. My go-to transition, which I also will teach you, is the 1.5 swap. So it's a mixture of a J-stick and kind of a juggle, I guess. Yeah, it's a juggle. So I'm not going to go too in-depth on this because we haven't covered juggles yet. But I did learn this before I knew how to juggle. The hardest part is the toss. We want to get this 1.5 toss perfectly to where it's not spinning, but it's flipped perfectly where it'll rotate right on top of it on the axis. So this probably took the longest at the beginning of my tricks to get, is that toss. That toss is horrible to learn, and it's very frustrating. But once you get it, it's my favorite transition. So I don't really use any other transition from Tama grip unless I'm doing, mostly I will get it to airplane, and I'll do a 1.5 swap out to get to regular grip. But for now, we're gonna keep practicing. I know I'm not very good at them, but we're gonna be practicing these from each of the cups. That one's a little bit harder. All right, and then once we get a feel for those, I know this is really difficult, but this is advanced. So we're gonna go back to regular grip and transition to Tama grip. My favorite that I do most of the time is I will catch it on base cup and rotate it around and catch it in lighthouse. Let me do it right. All right, and that's what that looks like. And then from here, I can do a lighthouse flip, insta, I could do a bunch of tricks from it, or I could just go straight to spike for airplane. So I would practice, this is actually what I would practice when I was doing these, is going from regular to Tama, back to regular. And you just do that back and forth, whatever transition you choose. And I mean, you'll get good at that transition. And from each of these, now that we're in the advanced course, I want to start doing whirlwinds, which we covered a little bit in the last semester. We're doing a elongated earth turn where it goes higher up and it's going to spin a lot slower, and a Ken flip in the middle of it. This is really hard, but like I said, the enders, you want them to be really hard because you already landed your trick, and the enders can just be whatever you want. You can always cut them out the video if you didn't land it, so why not just try it? And the more we do it, the more we're going to get more consistent at it. And that's pretty much a tip I have as well, is after you land a trick, once you get to the point where you know all these tricks and you're doing your own thing, or you want to add a different ender and it's a trick you really want to learn, say it's like double earth turn, do a double earth turn. It doesn't have to be a whirlwind. It can be whatever you want it to be, but just add a trick that you really want to learn to the end that's more difficult than you can probably do as of now. But add it to the end of your tricks to reward, not to reward yourself, but you're going to land it luckily a few times. And it shows that you can do it. And the more you do it, the more consistent you'll get at it. Same thing with, instead of from Tama grip, instead of just doing a J stick, do a different one. Do a double, or now that we learned 1.5, just do 1.5, because this is really difficult to get that throw down. And the more we do it is how we're gonna get better at it. So that's the that's the transitions lecture. This is pretty much all you're gonna need in between tricks, but you can get more advanced. I've picked 2 transitions that I really like. I don't really do any other ones. So find those 2 that you like. It's just important that you have some and stick to them and get really good at them. So it adds flow to your freestyles and stuff like that. So that was that lecture. I'll see you in the next.